Good morning, good day, good afternoon, or good evening. How's it going? So today we're taking a look at another small town in the northern part of Jutland. The town is called Sæby. It's about 24 kilometers or 15 miles from Dronninglund, the city that we visited yesterday. Let's start our little journey and head into town. Hello Jon, welcome to the stream. Sound and picture okay? That sounds great. Exactly what we want. Just like the other cities we visited the other days, this is a very old town. It dates back about 1,000 years. And that is also why all the streets are so narrow. They were built before the cars. Hot today. Yeah, but also slightly windy. So not a big problem. Sæby is a seaport with a population of 8,800. I'll just make room for this car. This must be the city square. Just turn around and take a look from over here. A lot of cobblestone roads here. Not the best for a bike, but it's okay. Yesterday we talked about all the houses being white in Dronninglund. This city is more yellow. At least so far I've seen more yellow houses than white. It's a sort of pale yellow. And this is the museum, the art museum, I think. Let me just check. It's the Coastal Museum. It's documenting the progress of the city throughout time. The building is from the 1600s. The current look is from the 1800s, where it went through a major restoration. This is the watermill. Let's just turn around, go have a better look. And apparently it's for sale. In the 1600s, the watermill belonged to the king, and it was used as a grain mill. In 1698 it was destroyed. I'm not sure how, probably the weather, I guess. And it was rebuilt in 1710. From 1921 to 2003 it produced electricity, but only for the property. And as recently as last year, a major restoration project was approved to preserve the mill. What a nice old house. The major carpentry. Very interesting. cobblestone roads aren't the nicest to ride on. Just as I was about to start the stream today, I ran over some cobblestones here and a cable popped out and I had to restart the entire system. So I hope the stream survives. Many small restaurants here. The city of Säby was designated a market town in, I think it was 1524. And more about that later when we get to the church. There's an interesting story about that. Somewhere around here there should be a brewery. A so-called microbrewery. I'm not exactly sure where it is, but it should be just about here. And I guess the outdoor serving could be from the brewery. You can buy local beer directly from tap, or you can buy it on bottles. And they make it preferably with locally sourced materials. Let's see, where do we go now? Some of the most interesting roads are not for bikes. That's a pity. We're going towards the harbor right now. If you have any questions, please type them in the chat. If you're watching on Twitch, unfortunately I can't see the chat. Haven't set up a system for that yet. So if you have a question, please go to the YouTube channel instead. And don't forget to like and subscribe and ring the bell to get notification whenever I'm online. the little girl yelled, "He's filming everything." Very funny. But she's right. I am filming everything. The church is to our left, but we'll check out the harbor first. Today it's not much of an industrial harbor, it's mostly a marina. Perhaps a few fishing boats are here, I'm not sure. We'll just have a look. It does not look like an industrial harbor here. There's a big sculpture on the other side. Let's see if we can find a place to get a better look at it. This is better. I guess it's very tiny on your screen. Let's just try to get a better picture. I'll just switch the camera to my phone and then we can zoom in a bit. Unfortunately, there's not stabilization. So it'll be a bit shaky and it takes a few seconds before the image quality is good. But you should be able to see it right about now. The monument is called The Lady from the Sea and it was made in 2001. I hope that worked. I can see a fishing boat right over there. Let's see if we can get to it. And a smaller one next to it. But that's the only ones we've seen out here. And Jorn says thumbs up. I guess that means it worked. There's some very interesting ships here. And again, the church to our left. And we'll be there in just a few minutes. We're not done checking out the harbor yet. And the ever-present ice cream shop. Can't have a tourist area without one. Nice view of the marina. And if we turn around, I'm not sure you can see it, but in the distance there's a few windmills and some industrial equipment. That is the larger city, Frederikshavn. Try to do the trick again. we can capture it on screen. There it is. Oops, very shaky. And we will take a look at Frederikshavn another day. Let me get the chat back on the screen. The small stream to our right is the same one that we checked out some minutes ago at the watermill. The stream ends here. And once again, lots of cozy little places to get a drink or something to eat. Very nice town. And once again we see the yellow theme of the houses. I guess that is typical for this town. Hold on, I'll just turn around to give you a look of these houses. In front of us we have the glass blower. They make art from glass and they do it all in-house. They make just about anything you can think of. Dishes, nameplates, figurines, small houses, probably even a garden gnome if you want so. I guess they're closed right now, but it's a popular destination. And in front of us is the church. It's built probably in the 1400s. Some of it may be even older. It started out as a monastery. And later, I think it was 1683 perhaps, most of the monastery was torn down and used as building materials for the harbor. But that was just the monastery. The church that we see remained. as I mentioned, some of it older than the 1400s, and nobody knows how old, but probably about 1,000 years old by now. An old monument. Let's see if we can get a better look at it. The monument is for a guy named Stygge Krumpen. It is not a very pretty name, and it's hard to pronounce, especially if you are not Danish. Stygge Krumpen lived from 1485 to 1551, I think it was. He was the secretary of the king, that was Christian II, and he became that in 1515. And if I'm not mistaken, just next to his head there's a number, and it could be 1515, but I'm not sure. It's hard to read. In 1519 he became a Catholic bishop, and he feuded with the king, Christian II, over shipwreck salvage rights. So he wasn't very popular, and he was jailed in 1536, just after the Civil War, where he fought Christian III. He didn't like Christian III. The Civil War is called the Count's Feud, and it instigated the Reformation in Denmark, where we converted from Catholicism to Lutheranism. In 1542, he was released from jail, and he was granted an abbey in Viborg called Asmild Abbey, or in Danish Asmild Kloster. And that is also a place we will visit in the future. And he died in 1551. He was actually the guy who fought to make Sæby a market town. So he did a lot of stuff. Let's just continue around the church. And all the cobblestones are probably turning this into the Shaky Cam stream. A bit of renovation going on here. see if we can get a better look from here. And if I didn't mention it, the market town status was from 1524. And market town is a designation that gives cities some privileges for trade, for getting some monopoly industries. They didn't have to conscribe to the army. Stuff like that. Doesn't mean anything today, it's just a historical thing. Hasn't meant anything since 1970. A very old tree outside of the church. Looks like it's several hundred years old. Historically, Säby was an industry town, mostly fishing. But in the Middle Ages, as I mentioned, 1500s, trading became more important. The harbor is not the original harbor. It was destroyed by weather several times and rebuilt several times. And in the 1660s, the city was almost abandoned due to poverty after the 1660 war against Sweden. We had a lot of wars against our neighbors back in the time. The city began to grow again in the 1800s. That was the industrialization causing that. The harbor, as we see it in front of us, mostly dates back to 1879, I think. And the first train station in the city was in 1899. And during the last 100 years, the city has grown from about 2,000 to now a population of 8,800. Yeah, we've already been here. Let's try to find some more of the beautiful small streets. Let's just make the car pass. Lots of beautiful houses. The sign above the doors is for justice. I guess that would be the old courthouse. As Sæby gained market rights back in the 1500s, they also got their own court, a subsidiary of the court in Viborg. We have already been here. Let's take this road instead. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and to get notified the next time I'm live streaming from one of the beautiful cities in Denmark. Ring the bell. At least you can do that on YouTube. On Twitch you can also choose to get a notification if you desire so. Somewhere around here there's a miniature city. I hope we can find it. And welcome to the stream. Mercy, I'm sorry, I'm not good at pronouncing names. I love this. How I pray to come back and ride on these roads again. Okay, so you have been here or in Denmark? And what country are you from? I always want to know who watches my streams. It's so interesting to get the perspective of people from foreign countries. I'm born and raised in Denmark, so all of this is just natural, the way things have always been. And we found it. Here it is. This is a miniature replica of Sæby town, and it is built on voluntary basis by retirees, and they have been doing it since 2000. It's quite a project. Just get a little closer. It is very detailed. Amazing. And you may recognize at least the church, and even the trees next to the church are there. What an amazing place. They're not open for business right now, but if you pay, I think 30 kroner, you can get in and study all the houses up close. Let me just get you a view of the sea, and then I'll read the chat. I am from, Mercy says, I am from Kenya. I was in Denmark, Næstved, in 2016 and 17. I was hoping to join university in Esbjerg this fall, but I couldn't raise the school fees within 2 weeks. Oh, that's sad to hear. Næstved is in the eastern part of Denmark. It's a lot closer to the capital city of Copenhagen. How did you like Denmark? I guess if you wanted to join the university, you did like it. But I'm still curious. Some very nice beaches out here. And the sea, the ocean, is called Kattegat, and it's what separates us from Sweden. As I mentioned, the entry fee to the miniature city is 30 kroner, but I forgot to mention that converted to US dollars, something most people know the value of, is about $5. And I guess they use it for materials. The people running the show are volunteers, everyone. Let's go back to the city center. It's a lot more interesting than this part of the city. Let's try this street. There's a house with a number on it, says 1878. That's when it was built. And again the pale yellow theme, with a few exceptions, like the red one in front of us. Apparently only half the house is red, the other half is pale yellow. Left or right? Oh, that was the courthouse, yeah. And another ceramics shop. That is the second or third of that kind we have seen today. Edda Ravnkilde, 1862 to 1883. This was her home when she wrote Judith Fürste. I'm not sure what that is, but I guess it's a book she wrote. Interesting. Quite a lot of history in a town like this. I think that's a given. Säby Kommune, the city administration, I guess they don't use this one. There's a huge building outside in the outskirts of the town where the city administration resides today. But I guess that was the old one. Was that the same cobblestone road we took earlier in the stream? I'm not sure. It's not very pleasant to ride on, but I'm sacrificing myself for you. All my streaming equipment is bouncing around, I hope. it survives and the stream doesn't end here. Something to do with bats. It says on the sign. "1777" it says on that house. And another restaurant. Oh, we have been here before. Now I recognize it. Let's see what we find down here. The stream again. And the restaurant we passed a few seconds ago is just over there. What a lovely place to have your dinner. And it's hard to see against the sun this way. There are some really amazing trees. I guess they are hundreds of years old. There are quite a few tourists in the area. I have heard many languages spoken by people walking in the city today. Some very interesting trees along the road. Let me just slow down a bit. The YouTube bitrate doesn't like trees. The image quality degrades quite a bit when I move too fast on the trees. But an entire street of that kind of trees. And they are on both sides of the sidewalk. Interesting. Haven't seen that before. Apparently we just entered a parking space. And it leads to a church. No driving allowed. We'll just take a look at it from here. Looks a bit newer than the other church. Quite a bit newer. And a lot smaller. Perhaps it's just for burials. The graveyard is here. Could be. Not sure. Let's continue on. See if we find any other interesting things. And just so you know, I don't have a map in front of me. I can't see the map that you can see. I have memorized every place I want it to be, and it's tough to memorize that much. But I'm hoping we can get to the holiday home area. And then we can, after that, we can go out into the newer parts of town and see what's there. Speed bumps for bikes. Haven't seen that before. That's a new one. Why not? This looks like the holiday area. Denland. Yes. Denland is a company that rents out holiday spaces, and they have water worlds and swimming, what's it called? A place where you can swim indoor. That's usually the stuff they do. And the beach. Lots of people. Oh, not lots, but some. Quite a nice beach. Some looks like some nice sand. Clean. And is it allowed to bike on this path? Yes, it is. Cyclist, slow down. Okay, we will do that. Actually, we already did that. And this is the vacation home area. A huge area with lots of vacation homes. We'll just turn left down here and then we will have a better look. I can imagine it's a bit hard to see when we are directed against the sun. So we'll find a road where we are looking away from the sun instead. There are some very new, very modern holiday homes here. They are rare. Let's take this road. And you will notice a thing, and it's something that I don't have an explanation for it. But most of the vacation homes are built from wood. And normal homes are almost always brick houses. And to me that makes no sense. Why would you build in different materials based on whether it's a vacation home or not? I'm not even sure. Yeah, maybe a wood house is cheaper. That's the explanation. Not sure. Could be that. But then why are almost all vacation homes built with wood? I don't understand. Probably it's just the way you do it, because that's the way we have always done it. Sometimes that is the most likely explanation. But it's very obvious here. Wooden houses. And a rare brick house over there in modern style. Let's go down here and check out the beach. couple of people are swimming, that's it. But it's also getting late. It's 7:15 in the evening. I guess most beachgoers have already left their home, getting their meals. Okay. Public toilets, grips. I almost fell. The sand just disappeared right from under my tires. A few seagulls on the roof. I think this area goes on and on for several kilometers. And we have seen just about everything here. It looks like we're approaching the city limits now. There's a big hotel in there. And I think we need to go left. If we turned right here, we would end up at something called Nellemanns Have, Nellemanns Garden. We're not going there. I can't bring the bike in, so there's nothing to see, and I can't leave the bike because of all the streaming equipment on it. But it's a garden that's more than 100 years old, where some guy, a public servant I think, planted all sorts of apple trees. And he died some years ago, and it's still a privately owned garden, but it's open to the public, and some volunteers are maintaining it. So everyone can enjoy it. That is, everyone except people on bikes. And that's the only reason we are not going down there. I hope to find a solution where I can take the streaming equipment and put it in a backpack. And so I'm able to leave the bike and go places where bikes aren't allowed, even indoor. Let's check out this. Jernkiln, meaning the iron spring, iron source. I did not stumble upon that when I researched the city. But we will go down there and check it out, because why not? The symbol to the left on the sign, I hope you can see that. That means it's a historical place. And it says, "Do not enter." That does not make sense. Maybe we're supposed to park and then walk. Not going to do that. Anyways, let's carry on. And if you're watching this as a recording after the fact, I will probably put an annotation in the subtitles explaining exactly what we missed here. Bike path, let's take that. See where we are ending up. I have no idea where we're going. This street with those trees looks just like the one we passed some minutes ago, but they were on the other side of the street. So it's not the same street. We have been here before. Factory making tools. And now I need a map. Hold on a second. Where are we? Okay. How do we get there? Honestly, this is not the most interesting road we have looked at today. So let's just hurry up. If you look closely, you may be able to see straight ahead there's a few of the green energy monuments, also called windmills, producing power from a resource that we have plenty of in Denmark. It's called wind. Not only do we have plenty of it, I think we have too much of it. That's just an opinion. Back in the city center, we saw the old city administration or town hall. And I believe the building in front of us is the current town hall. Are there any signs telling us if we are right or wrong? I don't know. You'd think they would put a sign up, but apparently they don't. Maybe over here. Nope. No sign. Anyways, I think that is it for today. Any last questions? Last chance to ask them now in the chat. It is a public building, that much I'm sure of. But not a single sign telling us it's the city hall or city administration or anything. I have no clue why. That's unusual. The local water world. Yeah. Anyways, that's it for today. And let's see where we end up next time. If it's someplace interesting, probably is. Where it will be or when it will be depends on a lot of things. Mostly the weather. Thank you all for joining the stream and see you next time.